Hi friends, Christy here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Today I am going to finally be telling you what is in my favorites basket so far in 2025. I've never done this before on my channel, but this year I thought it would be fun each month to put my favorite books from that month into this basket. And then at the end of the year, I was thinking I would have a decent selection to look at as I try to decide what's going to be my favorite book of the year. I did not anticipate that my basket would be full at 6 months, but it is to overflowing. One doesn't even fit, so it's on top. So what I'm going to do is put all of these books aside and start fresh. When I do my July wrap up, I will add some more to this basket, hopefully, and fill it up throughout the rest of 2025, hopefully. And then at the end of the year, I will have those to share with you as well. But today, without any order or organization, because these have moved around and I don't remember what month I read each of these things in, I'm just going to start from one end and tell you what's in my favorites basket for this year. I'm going to save for last the one that I think is going to be my favorite of the year, but we'll save that till the end. So I'm just going to start with the side here. I have Prairie Lotus by Linda Sue Park. I read this, I'm pretty sure, during middle grade March, about a Chinese American girl living in the Midwest. Kind of a Little House on the Prairie type of a story, only with a Chinese American girl. Deals with racism and the Chinese American history. Like, we get to learn a little bit about Chinese American history. And we follow this young girl whose dream and desire it is to be a dressmaker. And she lives alone with her single dad. They move to a new town. She faces a lot of backlash from the community and other kids in the school. I just really enjoyed it. Oh, we have a fantasy, Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the second trilogy, The Live Ship Traders. This I mentioned in my mid-year book freakout tag because it was a surprise to me. I don't typically love books that are set on ships, and a good chunk of this book is set on a ship. But because it is such a deep dive into multiple different characters, I mean, Robin Hobb, her character work is beyond amazing. And there are some that are morally gray. There are some that you just really can't stand. There are some that you're rooting for. I was definitely enjoying all of the different kind of trails that we got started in this book and looking forward very much to continuing this trilogy and the Realm of the Elderlings as a whole. But yeah, Ship of Magic, fantastic. What do we have here? Oh, and Ember in the Ashes is another fantasy, YA fantasy. This one was a reread for me, but I'm still putting it in the favorites basket because I enjoyed it just as much this second time. We followed two main characters, Laia and Elias, in here. We're in this fantastical world, very similar in ways to ancient Rome. There's this military school that Elias is a part of, and Laia is working with the rebel group because her brother got taken and she's trying to find out where he went and how to get him back. And then Laia and Elias's stories kind of come together. But yeah, fast paced, but does dive into Laia and Elias themselves. I love especially Laia's growth throughout this one. She starts out pretty timid and afraid, and by the end, she does a few things that just really show how much she is growing. And I love seeing that play out. And I'm very excited to continue. I have talked about this one quite a bit, The Wheel on the School by Minder Jejong. This was a Newbery winner that I read during middle grade March. It was such a surprise to me. I talked about it again in my mid-year book freakout tag, but this was just a delight. I loved the teacher and the way that he allowed the kids to kind of ask questions and then find out the answers to these questions. And so one of the little girls in school one day talks about the storks, why the storks don't come to their town anymore. And so the kids kind of go on a mission to find out where are the storks going and why aren't they coming to their town. And all of the other people in the town get involved. And it just was a delight to read from start to finish. I was not drawn in by this cover, but I definitely am so glad that I read this book. It was fun. Very early on in the year, I read The Appeal by Janice Hallett. This is my favorite one of hers. I think I've read 3 now. This is my favorite of the 3. I just thought that this was so much fun. We're following a theater group, and it is a collection of emails and transcripts of phone conversations, and there is a mystery. One of the people in this theater group is found dead. Was she murdered? Who did it? Was it somebody in the theater group? Everybody is a suspect. The idea is that you're supposed to be able to figure this out as the reader. But what I loved about this is we also kind of have these two young lawyers who are going through this case file and reading all of these emails. And these two young lawyers are putting together their theories of who did it. And each time they present a theory, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just in it for the ride. I thought it was so well done. It was funny at times. It was a good mystery. And the answer was really cool. Like, I feel like it worked. And it was my favorite so far of Janice Hallett. Another one that I read early on in the year is The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. Oh man, I loved this book. It had me crying. I just really fell in love with our main character and his struggles, Ray. He's just so determined to be a world-class violin player, and we kind of follow him through his journey doing that. And there's a bit of a mystery. He was gifted a violin by his grandfather or grandmother, and this violin sparks this mystery when it is stolen one day. So there's a mystery in here, and the music was wonderful. I did listen to it on audio, and the audiobook was fantastic. I'm really, really excited to read more from Brendan Slocum because I think he did such a great job drawing me in with the story, but also with the characters. So I just loved The Violin Conspiracy. Man, it's going to be hard at the end of the year to make a top 10 list. Just recently, I read The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I don't think I gave it 5 stars, but I think it's a book that might stick with me, and we'll see. But I really enjoyed this literary mystery where we follow a family, a very wealthy, messed up family who own a camp in the Adirondacks, and their daughter goes missing one summer. But it turns out about 7 or 8 years ago, their son went missing as well. So there's this dual mystery happening as we are trying to find out what happened to the daughter, but also getting kind of flashbacks and finding out how the missing son, it might be connected to what's going on now. A lot of messed up people, a lot of people that you just get really mad at, but some people to root for as well. I was along for the ride with this mystery. It does jump around a lot, but I was in it to win it. So that is one of my favorites so far this year. Let's see. Oh, Moon Garden was one of our middle grade March group reads by Michelle A. Berry. This was so much fun. A secret garden retelling set in space. What? Definitely was not a one-to-one retelling. Not everything that happened in Secret Garden was in here, but the things that were, like, for example, the robot in here is called Binro, and he kind of represents the Robin in Secret Garden. There are other ways. Our main character in here is Myra, which is an anagram. Not anagram. Is that what it's called? Where you mix the letters around? Mary is our main character in Secret Garden, and Myra in here. So all the same letters, but just a different name from it. So I love all those nods to the Secret Garden, but Myra in here lives on the moon and is going to school on the moon. So she's constantly sneaking out of class, exploring her school and finding places to hide, and one day comes across this hidden garden. Well, plants are basically non-existent because on Earth, the plants became toxic, and that's why everyone had to leave the planet. So plants are kind of a no-no, but Myra finds this garden, and with a couple of friends decides to try to bring this garden back to life and learns about the plants, and it goes on from there. And I really loved it. I thought it was a fantastic story. Another middle grade that I really loved this year is Amari and the Despicable Wonders. This is the 3rd book in the Amari series, so I'm not going to really talk about it too much. I just really love Amari. I love her group of friends. I love the struggles that they have as a group of friends. It feels realistic to middle school and early high school, the drama that's there. But I also love the magic system and kind of this fantastical world that is developed in this series. I really enjoy it. Magic is actually not looked upon positively, and Amari is a magician. And so she gets herself into troubles, but also she's trying to save the world, basically. There's a bunch of magicians who have turned evil or already were evil, which just give magicians a bad rap. And Amari gets mixed up in the whole drama. And I really love it. I love the magic. I love the friendships. I love Amari. It's so good. The last middle grade I have is The Wrong Way Home by Kate O'Shaughnessy. I really enjoyed this one. I feel like I really enjoyed all of these. Obviously, they're in my favorites basket from the year. We follow a girl named Fern who grew up with her mom, her single mom, in a cult. ultimately. And the mom kind of discovers that it's a cult and escapes with Fern, grabs Fern, and they escape to California, across the country. And Fern is not happy about this at all. She's quite young. She lived at the cult from maybe 6 to 12 years old, does not fully comprehend all that's going on. She has drunk the Kool-Aid, basically is not brainwashed, but basically brainwashed to believe the way that the cult leader believes. And there is some truth to the things that he believes, but not fully, obviously. And so she is fuming with her mom, not happy at all about having to move and leave everything that she's ever known. And yet while they get in California, she starts to kind of think a little bit more for herself. She sees things that make her question the things that she has believed as her mom and others talk to her and as she makes friends. And just kind of watching her eyes get opened and watching her grow and learn was really cool. And I really appreciated this book. I thought it was really good. Next up, we have The Second Life of Muriel West by Amanda Skenador. In this one, it's the 1920s, and we follow our main character, Muriel West. I was like, what's her name? Oh yeah, it's in the title. We follow Muriel, who is the wife of a old-timey movie star, and live in the glamorous life until it's discovered that she has leprosy, and she is sent to Louisiana to a leper colony there. She is not happy about this fact and puts up a stink when she gets there and is really difficult to be around and to deal with. But watching her growth as she kind of accepts what has happened to her and accepts where she is and does her best to try to help those who are finding a cure for it and who are just trying to help other people and to treat each other like humans, even though they have such a horrible disease. I'm just watching Muriel work through all of that and actually develop friendships and relationships with others who are at this leper colony while still really missing her husband and children. It just was a good story. It was a really good story. It taught me a lot about the leper colony and things that I hadn't been familiar with. And so I really did like this one very, very much. Recently, I read A Shadow in Moscow by Catherine Ray. So I feel like I've just talked about this recently, but in this one, we follow two women who are spies in Moscow. One of them grew up in Austria, married a Russian man, moved to Moscow, decides that things are not quite as pleasant as she had hoped or expected. Her husband is not quite who he said he was. And she gets wrapped up in this spy movement. And also we follow a young woman who was part of a program in Russia at the time to send kids to college in America, but ultimately to kind of learn about America and then come back and work in high profile jobs in Russia. So she was going to learn engineering and come back and be an engineer in Russia. She has to meet with a KGB officer every week. It's pretty intense, her program that she's a part of. And she has no chance to think any differently. And they're constantly asking her about the people in her life. And she loves her country, so she doesn't see it as a bad thing. But when she gets back to Moscow, her mind starts to change as well. And she decides that she is going to go ahead and be a spy. So we follow these two women and their spy antics, their spy adventures, if you will. I really enjoyed how it wrapped up at the end and these two stories. I just really enjoyed how it all kind of wrapped up at the end. And were some surprises in there and twists that I was not expecting at all. So yeah, I really loved this, and I'm hoping to read all of Catherine Ray's books at some point. I'm getting close. The next one in my basket is The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham. This one is kind of a mashup between You've Got Mail and Romeo and Juliet, almost star-crossed lovers, but they don't really know it because they're sending letters to each other in this tree that's in the zoo. It takes place in Buffalo in 1920s. Both parents of our two main characters run shoe companies in Buffalo, New York. They used to have a company together and they have split, and so now they're very antagonistic towards each other. But both of the kids are kind of caught up in the crosshairs of things and not thrilled about it. They had a great friendship when they were little and the dads were working well together. But then once the split happened, these two kind of lost track of each other, weren't allowed to communicate really. The girl, I think, left a letter first. I can't remember, just to put it out there into the void. But then the boy found it and responded. They don't know that it's who it is, but start leaving letters for each other and of course fall in love with them. And this was emotional and beautiful, and I just really, really loved this story. I liked the zoo. I liked that it was set at the zoo, and that kind of plays a part as the story goes on. I like the growth of our female main character. She's kind of given a silver spoon for a big part of her life, but when her circumstances change, I liked seeing how she handled that. And of course, I loved the romance that was in here. I thought it was really beautiful. So I loved this one so much, and would definitely like to read more from Rachel Fordham. The last three that I have are all nonfiction, surprisingly enough. Early in the year, I read The Reading Promise by Alice Ozma, My Father and the Books We Shared. And this is just a memoir of Alice and her dad, who read together for 9 years, I think, altogether. When she was in 4th grade, the dad made a promise to read to her for 100 nights in a row, and then that just continued and continued. This is not a rundown of each and every book that they read or every single night, but it's just, it's like a memoir in snippets of along the way, things that she learned about herself, about her dad, how the books impacted her life, how sometimes life was mirroring what was going on in books. It was really, really touching. I loved that the dad had his issues. It wasn't a situation of Alice putting her dad on a pedestal by any means. Like, he clearly had some flaws in his character, but their love for each other just shone through the pages of this book. And I just thought it was lovely. It was bookish and family at the heart. I just really, really loved this memoir. So good. And look at them. So cute. So cute. So they ended up reading together every day until she went to college. What? It was amazing. It was so good. Another very bookish book is The Secret Lives of Booksellers and Librarians edited by James Patterson and Matt Eversman. And this is also a collection of stories written by different librarians and booksellers about the magic of reading, about times where they got to recommend somebody just the perfect book, and what it means to them to work in a place where books are the center, and how it has impacted their lives, their community, their families, the connections that they've made because of working around books. Like, it just was a love story to books and booksellers and librarians, and the importance of these types of places in our lives and in our communities. Fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. So good. And the last nonfiction that I have is The Anthroposine Reviewed by John Green. This is another collection of essays, and John Green is just brilliant. His mind is just so amazing to me. I had so much fun reading this, and just how is John Green going to take Diet Dr. Pepper and make some profound connections to our thoughts and the world around us and the culture that we're living in? It just would start with the most mundane things. Each chapter talks about something in our world. Diet Dr. Pepper is one of the chapters. It's right there. Diet Dr. Pepper. Can you see that right above my finger? Teddy bears, Canada geese, cave paintings, sunsets, penguins of Madagascar, Piggly Wiggly. I mean, it's just a collection of essays that is so brilliantly told. Each one was entertaining. I was brought to tears. I was laughing. I was confused. I was blown away. This one made me feel lots of emotions and was such a delightful surprise. I really enjoyed this. I haven't always liked John Green's fiction, but I definitely did enjoy this nonfiction by him. Before I get to my favorite of the year so far, I do have one that I don't own, and it is For a Lifetime by Gabriel Meyer. This is the third book in the series, and we follow a set of twins who are living in two different timelines. In this series, each book focuses on a woman, or in this case, women, who have the ability or gift, or I don't know, they live in two different timelines. When they are awake in one timeline, they're there fully, and then when they go to sleep, they wake up in the other timeline. This continues until their 21st or 25th birthday, when they have to decide which timeline are they going to live in permanently, and then they just have one for the rest of their lives. So in this one, we follow twins. I don't even remember the second timeline, but one of the timelines is Salem, Massachusetts, during the witch trials, and it is harrowing and intense. Holy moly. And I really appreciated the the twin dynamic. Oh, I do remember the second timeline is something about early days of flight, the Wright brothers type of a thing, but not quite that early. But the one sister is a pilot and learns to fly and surprises her family by flying a plane, and then that storyline continues from there. There were some parts that made me gasp out loud. They were so intense. I loved the sister relationship in this one, and how as twins they're kind of joined at the hip type of a thing, but the way that they communicate with each other, and the growth of one of the sisters who seems to kind of be a brat at the beginning, but and the growth of the other sister who seems to constantly be bowing to her twins' desires and wishes, and like setting aside her own desires. Just how that all gets played out and throughout the course of the story is fantastic. Oh man, it was so good. And finally, my favorite of the year so far, and hopefully this is coming out after I do my 5-star prediction wrap up, potentially a favorite of all time. I mean, it is. It's going to be a favorite of all time. Theo of Golden by Alan Levi. I love this book. I love Theo. 80-year-old dude, sees people and makes such deep, meaningful connections. I just love Theo and the way that he views the world and the way that he loves people. He's an 80-year-old man, moves to this town of Golden, starts buying portraits that he sees on the wall in the coffee shop by a local artist and giving them to the people whose portraits they are. And I just love the way that he sees these people and what he can see in the photo, and how he communicates these things to the people that he meets, and the deep connections he makes with people right away. We don't get a story of each and every portrait that he hands out, but we get many of them. And as his community of friends, found family almost, gets larger and larger, we just get to get a good glimpse of this town of Golden. There's always this underlying mystery of who is Theo and why did he end up in Golden. The payoff of learning more about that was just so good. This had me laughing. It had me like wanting to hug it multiple times. I teared up multiple times as he learned stories of the people in this town, and as they all started to see each other in deeper ways as well. Theo himself is a man of faith, so I wouldn't call this a Christian fiction, but there are definitely Christian themes and values and worldview in here, just in the way that Theo loves other people. So arms wide open. It just, oh man, it's so good. It's so good. I want to reread it already. Now, knowing everything I do by having finished it, I want to go back through and see if I can pick up on some more things, if I can glean some more. I'll just have to read it again, because I do feel like there's different quotes about people and viewing the world and love and caring for others. It just was so good. It was so, so good. I know many of you have picked it up because I've been talking about it ad nauseum since that bookseller in Kansas City sold me on it. Oh, it was fantastic. It was so good. Definitely going to be a favorite of all time. And so far, by far, my favorite of the year. We'll see if anything can top it in the second half of the year. I don't know. And so that is the 18 books that I had in my favorites basket for 2025 so far. I am so excited about the second half of the year in hopes that I will fill it with just as many wonderful stories. I'm thrilled that I have 18 books that are considered new favorites, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out at the end of the year. I would love to chat with you in the comments below if you have a favorite or two that have stood out to you at the beginning of this year. I would love to hear what those are. Have you read any of these? Did you also like them? Did you not like them? We could talk kindly and respectfully about disagreements in the comments down below. Did any of these surprise you that I loved them? I would love to chat with you about any of these things in the comments down below. I always love talking with you down there. And if you've made it this far, but you don't really have anything to add, that's okay. Give me a good old thumbs up or the 100, something that denotes a favorite, a blue ribbon, something along those lines in the comments down below, just to let me know that you were here and watching and supporting my channel in that way. I really appreciate all of you so much. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. I can't wait to chat with you in another video very soon. Bye.